morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Wow. Welcome to Mornings with Mother, where authenticity lives and thrives to create a space of growth, healing, and joy. I am your host, Andrea Lawful Sanders, and each day we will cover the topics that are informative and engaging while learning from each other. This is not the time to have a post-nasal drip, Andrea. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. It is good to see all of you here. It is considered Hump Day, October 15th, 2025, and we are here on a Wednesday. There's a lot to cover. We have guests, one guest this morning that I would love for you all to listen to. He's been with us before, but I also want to make sure that you hear what he's saying in light of all the things that have been going on here. I also got feedback that the male nurse from Penn, who we have been having on monthly, has hit a chord with the men, and so I'm excited to have the men have him back so that we can. I need to text him and reach out to him so that we can have him on. Let me do my morning motivation because there's a lot to cover in between before my guest comes on. Giraffes, this is a quote, giraffes and turtles can occupy the same space, but they don't have the same worldview. The giraffes eat from the tops of the grass. The giraffes eat from the tops of the trees, and the turtles eat from the grass. What ultimately happens in the lives of all people is that we eat from the level of our vision. Let me read it again. What ultimately happens in the lives of all people is that we eat from the level of our vision. When you are a giraffe and get criticism from turtles, the turtles are reporting from the view of the level they are on. If you understand this, you won't be moved by what they say. Bishop T.D. Jakes. Bill Gates and Warren Buffett says they will not invest in a business unless it has failed at least twice. Folks, stop giving up when times get tough or you have to take a whole new path or start from scratch with your business. This is how the great ones are developed over time. Too many dreams deferred because we fear failure. Excuse me. I'm going to read it again. Folks, stop giving up when times get tough or you have to take a whole new path or start from scratch with your business. This is how the great ones are developed over time. Too many dreams are deferred because we fear failure. All right. I'm reading that to you because some weeks ago I went to an event. I drove to a club in New York for a cousin of mine who was getting an award. I saw her posted on social media. I asked her for the ticket information, but nobody expected me to come. It was a Jamaican event. In fact, it was so huge, I knew just about everybody in the room. Did not know that was going to happen. I just thought it was a little thing. Turned out to be a huge thing. And when I got into the room and saw all the people there and began having conversations with them, my cousin's father pulled me aside. He actually broke into tears when he saw me because he had not seen me since I was a teenager. You know how many moons ago that was? And after some time, he looked at me and he said, "You are a lesson in pivoting." He said, "I've never seen anything like it in my life. This happens, you go over here, you pivot over here. That happens, you pivot over there. You pivot and you keep pivoting and pivot. The only thing that is the same thing about me is the way I treat people." I've been paying attention in these last few weeks, specifically, where people have come, "Oh, Andrea, I'll do this for you and I'll do that and I'll be there for you." And then they disappear. You can't reach them. They've just disappeared. They got what they wanted or the thing is over and they just moved on. And I am not upset with them. When I see them, I will talk to them, enjoy having conversations with them, but I know now where I put them, right? We don't have time for fair weather people. We just don't. So there's that. But you're going to fail. You're going to fail. Things are going to happen. You're going to have to pivot. The only thing that is constant is change. So nothing stays the same. And when we give up and keep moving to different things, I pivot, but I'm staying in the same realm of what I want to do. I pivot, but it's around the same spaces of the things that I've always done my entire life. I pivot, but I am still there. right? And so don't let people, if something you're doing doesn't work, in the interim, and you're like, oh my God, and this is gone and that is gone, and nope, you keep pivoting, you keep going. All right, so what do I do next in this same space? How do I keep the same integrity for the work that I've always done? What can I do differently, right? And so to those of you who are sitting in something and you see it, that it's, something is happening and it's going down the drain and you think it's not going to work, remember, most businesses, in fact, it was Dr. Randall Pinkett who said this: his businesses failed 7 times before he began making money enough to hire folks and be able to keep them, et cetera, et cetera. He spoke frankly about hiring folks and having to let them go. Do not allow yourselves to give up because something didn't work in the moment. You're on to something, but you just have to keep working and moving it and melding it and molding it. The thing that is going to determine whether you are okay long term is how you treat people. I'm so tired of saying it. But in a world where you can be anything, be kind, and don't be fake kind. Don't be kind because it suits you and serves you. Be kind always. Look at your core values. Forget the business concept. Look at your core values. Who are you as a human being? Because that over time, long term, is going to impact the way people see you. It's going to impact the way people invest in you or not. All of that makes a difference. And when folks come for you, because they will, instead of sucking salt through a wooden spoon, you say, okay, there has to be some truth in this somewhere along the line, even if it's not the truth that people think it is. How do I learn from this? What are the lessons that I am learning in the middle of all of this that is going on right now? Being defensive doesn't work. You sit down and you say, all right, so I could have done this differently. I could have. Speak the truth, because if you don't tell your story, someone is going to tell it for you. Somebody's going to tell it for you. And each and every one of us have gone through trials and tribulations that we will never utter publicly to everybody. And that is okay. If you sit around and believe the fallacy that life is always going to be wonderful and you're always going to have everything right and nothing is going to impact you, all is well, then it's a fallacy. Because if something impacts large groups of people, then it's going to impact your business. It's going to impact your industry. It's going to impact how you eat. So we should never, ever see, that all that's happening over there, but it's not impacting me. Yes, that's how the universe works. We're all connected, interconnected with each other. And so this morning, my dear people, I'm sharing 2 things with you. Do not allow yourselves to sit around and think, oh, well, they don't like me because blah, 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 blah. Learn the lessons that are coming within that thing. And if you know within your heart of hearts you're unkind, you treat people terribly, then you have to sit down and figure out, well, how do I pivot from that? What do I need to do about myself and with myself and through myself to make sure that I'm okay? This facade, this keeping up appearances doesn't work. Because while you pretend like all is well and all is going on, people are behind the scenes having conversations about, I'll go to their event, but I don't really like them. I'm just going to tell them I have my regrets. People will never forget how you make them feel. That is not even my quote. That's Maya Angelou's quote, but it's true. It's absolutely true. So all the accolades in the world, all the job descriptions, all the making of the money makes absolutely nothing if you treat people like they're poop on your shoe. It's important. It is absolutely important. And so when trying times come, you'll know how you treated people because your phones will either ring or not at all. Your phone, people will turn up and say, oh my God, how can I support you? You've done this for me and that for me. You've helped me, or not at all. The last thing I'm going to say about this is this. We choose people in our lives based on who we are. So if you're around people that are disgusting and awful, take a look at your own self. We attract to us who we are. And that is absolutely important. You've heard me say this over and over again. So I want you to think really long and hard. Why is everybody around me? Why are the people closest to me horrible? Who am I that I attract someone to me that is just people to me that are just this way? Look at the 3 closest people to you and that will tell you. It will tell you. Absolutely tell you. So I'm just saying, think it through, y'all. Listen when people give you advice. Sit down and thoughtfully hear what is going on around you. Because yesterday, my phone was hopping. The first call I got yesterday morning was that D'Angelo died. So I knew D'Angelo died long before all of you did. And I was sworn to secrecy. And of course, I'm not going to, I wouldn't divulge. So I let it hang until it came out in the news. But I looked at the phone and I went, damn, this is not going to be good. And then the phone calls started coming in from an Inquirer news story that was just people. And then people started sharing with me based on that story, the impacts that happened to them. That they said everything about the story is absolutely true. They've gone through this. One person actually quit their job. Many people quit their jobs based on what the story was saying. And so again, be kind, treat people well. So my phone I kept getting account after account after account. And I was like, because folks know I'm not going to come on the air and say, well, such and such said, or this and this happened. I'm very careful to protect people when they bring the stories to me. But there was a whole lot of corroboration, and not one person called and said this entire story was wrong. Not true. So then you have to sit and look and say, what can I do differently? And what folks don't realize, and I hope they do, that even if this person continues on in the field that they choose to be in, it has now completely changed the way people see them. Because what the public didn't know, the public now knows. And then the public will turn around and look at everybody else around this person and go, oh. So when we are public personas or not, have to be very mindful about the way we speak to and treat people at all times, even if you feel justified in it. And when we take our power and abuse it, that does not end well. It does not end well. So if you're under the sound of my voice and you're doing something like that right now, don't look at me and go, oh my God, I can't believe she, blah, 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 blah. Nope. Get introspective and say, how can I look at yourself and say, what can I do differently? What can I do differently? Like all of you, I'm not always right about everything. But you know what makes me different from many people? I am willing to sit down and say, you know what? I did not get that right. I am so sorry. It was not my intention. So I don't leave a trail of enemies behind me. I do not. And that takes a ton of growth. It takes really listening to somebody beyond your damn selves. It does. Case in point, I am now sitting in a 4-day professional development workshop. I heard about it. Brian Stevenson's and Dr. Howard Stevenson, and as I listened to what they were saying, I said, you know what? I could literally take this course and shore up what I am doing, who I am, what lessons can I learn. Cost me a grip, but I paid for it because it is about developing my own self, that I'm not just sitting here going, oh, I'm such a certain age and I can't be better. I can't do better. And so now I'm sitting in this course. I have to take 3.5-4 hours every day for the next several days, turn everything off and learn about Andrea. Learn about what do I do that causes an issue for people. Learn about what are the strengths that I have. Learn how to reimagine using my voice. Because the minute we think that we are there and nobody can tell us anything, then that's when we've stopped growing, right? So just think about this, y'all. Think about this. If your business is not doing as well as you think it should, then you pivot. How do I do something different? Make something different out of all of these things. Learn how to slow down and say, I don't have to rush through to be seen every single day about every single thing. Be thoughtful in what you curate and put out, because when you do that, you'll get more respect than just having something thrown out there on the airwaves that sits there forever, okay? Or in life that sits there forever. Let me move on because my guest comes on at 7. Oh my God, this postnasal drip is ridiculous. And I'm going back to the gym for the first time in a week. So yeah, Marvel really was not feeling well. It's crazy as hell. Let me look at, and I see sorry, y'all. I'm sorry, cancel. I see your messages. Let me open them up so I can. Morning, Monica. Laura says the vision is being refined. Pivoting is a natural process. Oh, thank you, Andrea. Andrea, she says, happy podcast anniversary. Thank you. I saw that in my memory this morning, and I remember putting it out the first thing, and you all were listening and you subscribed. Thank you very much. We are working on season 4. And because I have not been feeling well, and there's some stuff that I've not been talking to you all about, that the team and I decided to move it a little bit further back. So season 4 is being curated. It's here. I'm going to make sure that I'll let you know when season 4 comes out. But I want to thank you all for catching the vision with us. Right? The team worked really hard. People are still listening to the episodes because now you've got to go through season 1, 2, and 3 to hear all the things that we've curated in that point. And you all have been just absolutely wonderful. So thank you for that. And thank you for subscribing to keep us going as we do the work that is necessary. And season 4 is a doozy. I mean, a doozy. As always, Marvel doesn't just have conversations to have conversations. So there we are. Good morning. Good morning. Andrea, I'm going to call you after I get out of the gym. So we can. Shaquilla. Good morning, Shaquilla. Morning, Bobby. Winetta. Good morning. So, and Laura. Let me see what else is happening here. I have to cover some of the news. Good morning, Viola. Good morning, Marguerite. Sheba. Oh, she said this is a powerful reflection and reconstruction. Absolutely. If you're not willing to first look at yourselves, as you're talking about, and I will have conversations with people about what I see going on with them, because I don't miss a beat. I just don't. Because I'm quiet doesn't mean that I don't see it, but I see it, right? But I'm also always reflecting on how I show up, how I treat the people that are around me. And it rubs me up and down when I see people being nasty or snarky just simply because they can, especially when you run a business that depends on people. You just can't. I mean, like you can say it's my personality, but baby, you've got to know how to talk to and treat people. It's not a good thing. So all of it has been, it's been a journey and a trial. And quite frankly, all this started when I was born and a little girl and giving my mother hell and, running up and down and finding my own pathway. Because I believe there are things that I want to do. We all have a mission in this life. And if we spend all our lifetime trying to capitulate to people and making people feel well, making people feel better about themselves, even when they are dead wrong, just to earn $1, that dollar is never going to land well. Because you've just got to speak truth to power, however you see it. And that truth to power means not co-signing to the stuff, turning your back and walking away, or confronting it personally. I entered my professional development yesterday and I said to them, I'm doing this because I find myself angry a lot, which is not something that I do. I find myself wondering what the hell is going on. And I have very little patience in ways that I used to have. And where I would run and jump into the lion's mouth and pluck out its tooth, I now stop and think and say, maybe I should, but maybe I shouldn't is not my personality at all. Right? So I'm working on myself so that I can continue to be the best version of who shows up on this air with you every single day. There are risks that we take every morning that we open up this microphone, that I open up this microphone, because while I have a team, the buck stops with me. And so here we are. Now, there's a couple of things going on in the news that I need to talk about before my guest comes on. And I need you all to stick around for 7 a.m. because while everybody is losing money, while the country is falling apart, good morning, Jacinia, while the country is falling apart in so many ways and people are talking about things that are not being aired, there's a way that we can continue to move forward, right? So here we are. Black Jesus. And yes, Black Jesus is something I say all the time. In local news, there was a stolen vehicle crashed at 2nd and Cheltenham. If you live near that area, please be mindful. One person is dead and it took hours to clean up the debris. Holiday shopping forecast is gloomy for many. 60% says less shopping in this economy as the holidays approach. What I do think is going to happen is, because as a people, we just don't want to say, I'm struggling. We would rather take the credit cards and blow them out the water into oblivion. And then in January, February, March, we're here. This is what really happens. So if you know you can't truly afford to do the kinds of holiday shopping that you've always done, reach out to your family members and say, hi, Shanina. Oh, Shanina says, sometimes I got your text message yesterday, but you heard me talk about this professional development. It's taking up a good chunk of my day. I can't talk to anybody, can't text anyone. I have to be fully engaged in this process. She says, sometimes we need to dig and dive deep to identify the key issues. You're encouraging me to work on me also. Absolutely, my sister. Good morning, Alexandra. Dennis, you're crazy yourself. So let your family members know, that's holiday season is a little different. You should have had the conversation already, because so many hundreds of thousands of people have lost their jobs, and it's particularly in our communities, the Black communities. So if you haven't had the conversation yet, I don't know what to tell you, right? Let's see. Let me cover some. It's only taken 24 hours, but Trump's fairy tale of peace in the Middle East seems doomed. As Donald Trump heralded a new dawn for the Middle East at his Gaza Peace Summit in Sharm el-Sheikh, Facebook reminded me that exactly 11 years ago to the day, I was also in the Egyptian resort city covering another Gaza peace summit after another bloody war between Hamas and Israel. The 2014 Gaza conference in Sharm was also packed with world leaders discussing who is going to foot the bill. It was too focused on the day after, and it also bizarrely featured Tony Blair, who was an ex-prime minister. Bell True wrote this for The Independent. At the time, the former British Prime Minister was adroitly dodging my questions in favor of waxing lyrical about the ex-military chief, recently turned Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, who is still mediating and hosting today. Over a decade later, even Blair himself has returned, this time at Trump's behest, to head up the so-called Board of Peace to oversee the ruling of Gaza. The same powerful men are having similar vague conversations and offering similarly hollow promises, only now the situation is even more urgent and dire, and the violence has been unprecedented. Once again, everyone is speaking in almost entirely contradictory terms about a present that doesn't reflect reality, and a magical future that, given the enormous issues that need to be and haven't been addressed, seems impossible to reach. And less than 24 hours after Donald Trump announced his everlasting peace, Palestinians were still being killed in Gaza. 8 trucks stopped from going into Gaza, and a row broke out about the failure of Hamas to return the bodies of dead Israeli hostages. All of these grim and sadly all too predictable factors threatened to topple the whole ceasefire process. Palestinian health officials reported that 7 people inspecting their homes in East Gaza were killed by Israeli drones, violating the fragile ceasefire. The Israeli military denied this, telling The Independent that the individuals had passed through a yellow line in which they had drawn. Israeli journalists, however, suggest that the military has invisible lines that Palestinians unknowingly cross. Inside Gaza, Internal Voice erupted with gruesome videos being shared online, reportedly showing Hamas militants conducting summary executions of men who it has since accused of being criminals and collaborators with Israel in the middle of a public square. In Israel, the largest group representing the hostages called on their government to immediately suspend all ceasefire implementations as it accused Hamas of violating the terms of the deal by handing back only 4 of the 28 remaining bodies of deceased hostages. In response, Israel has decided not to open the Rafah crossing between Gaza and Egypt, one of the key crossing points for aid delivery, and will reduce the amount of supplies going in until all remains are returned. So, this peace that everybody's talking about has already been fragile, and it was updated 52 minutes ago. Written today, updated 52 minutes ago. So this is real issues happening here in Israel. So follow the news. Make sure you're aware of what's going on. In national news, Los Angeles County officials voted on Tuesday. This was written by Leah Sarnoff from ABC News. Los Angeles County officials voted on Tuesday to declare a state of emergency over ongoing federal immigration raids. The proclamation gives the county the power to assist residents they say have been impacted financially by immigration and customs enforcement ICE action. The declaration was introduced by County Supervisors Lindsay P. Horvath and Janice Hahn and passed by a 4-1 vote, with Supervisor Catherine Baker opposing. Los Angeles County is home to over 3 million immigrants, according to supervisors who said the ICE raids have caused widespread fear and led to decreased attendance at workplaces, disruption of local economies, and a strain on critical services such as schools, hospitals, and places of worship. Rent relief for tenants who have fallen behind as a result of the ICE raids and money for legal aid and other services are among the provisions in the declaration. So that's happening there. More Americans, and this is written by Anna Commander for Newsweek, more Americans think the economy is getting worse, new polls show. Public sentiment about the U.S. economy has grown increasingly negative in the closing months of 2025. According to recent polls, a majority of Americans now believe that economic conditions are deteriorating, a trend that coincides with a government shutdown, inflation concerns, and widening partisan divides. Analysts note that such pessimism can impact consumer confidence, policy decisions, and political outcomes in the lead up to the 2026 midterm elections. The Economist/YouGov poll found that 18% of American adults polled think that the economy is getting better compared to 21% who think it is about the same, down from earlier this year. YouGov's Alan Houston told Newsweek the largest percentage believes the economy is getting worse, with 57% and 4% are unsure. The last time this percentage of Americans felt the economy was going in the wrong direction was May 2024, during former President Joe Biden's presidency, Houston said. So there's that. That's happening, right? Let me also cover, because I know he'll be on. That's not what I'm doing here, right here. Watch us all stand in line for a slice of the devil's pie. Yes. D'Angelo, Grammy-winning R&B singer who became an icon with Untitled How Does It Feel, dies. Recognized by his raspy yet smooth voice and for garnering mainstream attention in the shirtless Untitled How Does It Feel music video, has died. He was 51. The singer, whose real name is Michael Eugene Archer, died Tuesday, according to a statement from the family. The singer's family confirmed in a statement Tuesday that he died after a battle with cancer. His family called him a shining star of our family and has dimmed his light for us in his life. D'Angelo was supposed to come to the Roots picnic this summer, and he canceled. And the way you all carried on, I have said this over and again, just because you don't know, stop making assumptions about people. Here he was battling for his life. And because he didn't openly tell you, well, oh my God, I can't believe I was just looking for him to come, blah, 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 blah. You see, the reason we can do that, the reason why we can be so nasty is because we think this is about us. You know, everything is, oh, he didn't show up for us, and we paid for this ticket and he's not coming. We don't know what people are going through. As I would say, keep by your mouth. Seek first to understand instead of always wanting to be understood. We never, ever, ever know. And just because they're not sharing it with you doesn't mean that you get the right to rip people apart because you don't understand. Specifically with public figures. Now, if you're a public figure and you're showing up in public doing the things that people have hard evidence up and down the line, that's on you, right? But we just know. We just don't know. And so here, his son, Michael, the son that he shares with Angie Stone, she died earlier this year after complaining that the music moguls, the music industry, has not been paying her well. Then she got into a bus accident, and that was the end of Angie Stone, right? There's a whole story there. And you see, when these things happen in real time, it's decades later. Decades later, people who will not know who Angie Stone and D'Angelo are unless they go and research. And as you can see from here, many people are not researching at all, right? So decades from now, we'll hear the real truth about all of this. And then his father got sick. It couldn't have been long after Angie Stone passed away that D'Angelo got his diagnosis. And so now this young man is without both of his parents. Choose to be empathetic. Choose empathy over your damn egos. Please. It's hard. It's hard. Because we in the moment want what we want, how we want, and we want. Stop it, y'all. Stop it. Just stop it, please. Good morning, Teresa. Marguerite said, I'm so happy about this reflection. Yeah, Laura, and then the marketplace. Laura, has the marketplace opened yet, or is it still November 1st? Because people are very concerned about what their insurance is going to look like. The government is still shut down. The Democrats are saying, if we allow this thing to pass, your insurance costs are going to go up 80%. Who can afford that right now? But as the government continues to be shut down, here we are, right? We are sitting in this thing. People are being let go while the government is shut down. People are being told that their jobs have been eliminated, and then they get a thing saying that they come back. It's all kinds of stuff going on. And so while we're focused on the Israeli-Palestine war, which we should be, but I need us to be able to focus on more than one thing at a time. Because as I saw all of this happening, I said to myself, and peace is disrupted here. Peace is disrupted here, all over the place. I was shocked to have a conversation with a Jewish woman, because, I'm assuming that as this stuff is happening across the country, that, it's just Black and brown people that are feeling this. She said, I wake up every day and say, is this the day they come and get me? I am not moved by at all by the news about, all this other stuff that's going on. She said, I know how Jewish people have been treated living in this country. There are places around the world that I, as a Jewish woman, cannot travel at all. I would be unsafe. She said, and because of all the things that have been going on in the news, I don't feel safe. And I don't know which one of my neighbors are talking and saying, that one over there is Jewish, that one over there is Jewish. So every night she can't sleep. She can't sleep. And this is just a microcosm of so many stories, so many. So while you think you're the only one, while I thought I was the only one, when we open our mouths and share what's happening, then it becomes a larger story, because people will start to realize that this is more than what is. There was another article in the Inquirer yesterday about the mayor and her team not acknowledging what's going on with Donald Trump, and they're now making assumptions that she could probably be working with the current president against the again. If you don't tell your story, the lion will tell it for you, and that's what's happening right now. Unbelievable. Marguerite says, I don't understand how people get so wrapped up in public. I don't understand it either, Marguerite. And no one should rush to become a public figure. I promise you. She says, I don't understand how people get so wrapped up in public figures' lives that they feel that they have the right to judge the decisions that make it for them. The gall of it all. Monica says, I'm just leaving the gym and had you in my ear enjoying the personal introspection. Yeah. Yeah. And she says, I work with Orthodox Jewish people. And that's the other thing, when you may be Black or brown, you may be someone who's considered Anglo-Saxon white, you may be somebody who's considered Jewish, but you must be able to sit with each other. You can't sit and say, Now, if the person or persons in question do not have your best interest at heart, that's not where you sit. That's not where you sit down and roll and muddle, and especially after they've shown you who they are. Rock on. Right? But if they have the same, if they are thinking about, if they have the same concerns that you have, then you sit with folks and you have the dialogue, right? And love them the way they love you. There's part of the issue that we're having is this huge division amongst ourselves. Not everybody is. Not everyone is this horrible thing that you call them and say that they are. You have to figure out how to work with one another when you share the same goals and varied interests. I promise you. Because you do not want somebody nesting in your nest that does not believe what you believe or does not care one whit about you, but you're so busy trying to cozy up to them to make them feel like, you are a part of them and you want to work with them. And that goes for every culture. Did you hear what I said? It's a situation. Now, I am hoping y'all, let me tell you something. It's been crazy. It has been crazy. So, learn how to adjust, learn how to do what you need to do to make sure that you are okay. All right, let me go on over here and see what else is in the news while I wait for this person to show up. The man who attempted to burn down the governor's residence while Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro and his family slept inside pleaded guilty to several charges in court on Tuesday. Cody Balmer, 38, of Harrisburg, appeared in a Dauphin County court where he pleaded guilty to charges of attempted murder, aggravated arson, burglary, terrorism, reckless endangerment, aggravated assault, and related offenses. My God, on today, he'll never come out of prison. The attack, which happened on April 13th, 2025, caused millions of dollars in damages to the governor's mansion. Under the plea deal, Balmer was sentenced to 25 to 50 years in prison. Officials said he won't be eligible for parole until he is 63 years old. Shortly after he pleaded guilty, Shapiro, joined by his wife Lori, talked about the incident. Noting that he's struggling with the idea that someone tried to murder him, Shapiro said he has been trying to explain what happened to his children following the attack. It's especially hard to know that he tried to burn our family to death while we slept, said Shapiro. He questioned why he and his family were targeted and how Balmer was able to penetrate the residence right up to where he and his family were sleeping. All right, Governor Shapiro, he's asking the question because that's the question we all ask. How was he able to get on the grounds, get into the house, start the fire? What was going on there? This was written by NBC Philadelphia. A coastal storm is moving out of the Philadelphia region on Tuesday after flooding parts of the Jersey Shore. A coastal flood advisory is still in effect for some parts of the Jersey Shore. More than a dozen river gauge locations, along with the East Coast, reached moderate flooding stage during Monday afternoon's high tide. A majority of these measurements were along the New Jersey coast, where a state of emergency is in effect. Water levels did not rise as high as initially feared in Atlantic City, New Jersey, but the area did peak just shy of moderate flooding stage. That was, let me see who wrote that. 6abc.com. Temple Health and the unions that represent nurses, technicians, and other healthcare professionals at Temple University of Hospital, Jeans Hospital, and the new Temple Women and Families Hospital agreed to a new contract that includes pay raises and additional security at the system's hospital. I don't know if you remember my interviewing a nurse a few months ago who said that nurses were being raped by patients, nurses were being knocked out by patients, and that folks weren't doing anything about it. I'm telling you, the stories I carry on this platform is something else. I was stunned. The 3-year contract was ratified Friday by the Temple University Nurses Association and the Temple Allied Professionals, which represent around 2,600 workers. Had a deal not been reached by Monday, the unions would have went on a 5-day strike. Would have gone, not would have went. Lord Jesus, who wrote this? The contract includes wage increases of 3.25% for the first 2 years of the contract and 3% for the final year, step increases based on experience, and one-time ratification bonuses of $1,000 for full-time employees and $500 bonuses for 5 part-time employees. According to Megan Gorman, senior communications specialist with Pennsylvania Association of Staff Nurses and Allied Professionals, which both unions are a part of, all frontline healthcare workers will receive a wage increase of between 9.5% and 28% over the lifetime of the contract when taking step increases into account. Good for them. This was phillyvoice.com. New York Attorney General Letitia James made her first public appearance since being indicted on federal charges, vowing to continue resisting the Trump administration's aggressive policies, per the Daily Beast, during a rally for New York City mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani. James criticized the administration's efforts to silence truth and punish those who oppose the president and his policies. We see powerful voices trying to silence truth and punish dissent, and yes, weaponize justice for political gain, James said to the crowd. The charges against James stem from an allegations that she declared a second home in Virginia as her primary residence to secure favorable loan terms. The indictment came after James led several high-profile cases against the president, including a fraud lawsuit against the Trump organization and multiple lawsuits targeting the administration's policies. This was written by Black Information Network News. In response to questions about her residency, a spokesperson for Dr. Ala Stanford's campaign confirmed that she has bought a house in her native Philadelphia. Stanford said she bought a house in Chestnut Hill when the Philadelphia Tribune asked her about it following her announcement as a candidate in the Democratic primary for the 3rd Congressional District on October 1st to replace U.S. Rep. Dwight Evans. The spokesperson confirmed Monday that her family is in the process of moving into the home. Her candidacy paperwork lists a P.O. box as her address. Stanford and her family bought a house before she declared her candidacy earlier this month. She has worked in the city, including running private medical practices and teaching at universities in the district before switching her focus to elected office. She grew up in North Philadelphia before graduating from Penn State for undergraduate studies and medical school. Dr. A.L. Stanford is no fool. She knew she had to move into the district. She knew that was coming. Again, I knew she had bought the house. Just from people talking, calling and telling me that she had bought the house in Chestnut Hill. This race is going to be really interesting. Because I think it gives an opportunity for everybody to hear all the voices of all the people that are running. I see Senator Sharif Street has been out, meeting this one and that one and, having conversations, making his presence known. I see Morgan Cephas, who has been doing similar things. She's been showing up and having the conversation and making sure that people know who she is. Dr. Ayla Stanford has been largely quiet for right now, but I think as she moves into her new home in Chestnut Hill so that she can run properly for this seat, will be with her family, will show up too. So what I want you all to do, and this is Andrea speaking to each and every one of you, please do not look at name recognition. And I'm talking about everybody. Dr. Ayla Stanford, Morgan Cephas, Senator Sharif Street. You have lived now in a country and a time where you see people running for office that have either done the work or not done the work, who have been unable to be compromised, who are being compromised. We are feeling the ramifications of that. So now is the time, if you have never done it before, that you dig deeply into the past of these people, dig deeply into what have they done, how have they shown up, not just all the wonderful, beautiful accolades, but for those who have already been in office, when have they not shown up for a certain vote? When have they backed off from doing things that would actually help the people? When have they shown up to do the work for the people? You need to now use your critical thinking skills. And I've been saying this long before critical thinking became a quote that everybody used, because we like to attach ourselves to monikers and little quotes, critical thinking skills to say, all right, and make a list of your pros and your cons. Don't just go, oh, that's so and so, and so I'm just going to go ahead and vote for them. Stop doing that, please. Stop doing that. You're going to sit down and you're going to say pros, and you're going to say cons. You're going to put a line down the middle. And as you see them doing what they're doing, oh, that's a pro for me. Oh, no, that's a con for me. That's a pro. And then you decide based on that who you are going to vote for. Don't sit around and wait until election day and wait for somebody to hand you a placard that says, these are the people you should be voting for. Those people are getting paid to hand you those placards and telling you who they should vote for. Use your own God-given skills. Right? We have an election coming up now, November 4th. And I don't know how many of you are going to come out to vote. The things that are standing up front and center are the judge elections, the local judge elections in Philadelphia, right? You need to look at the who these judges are, what they're about, and vote accordingly. The problem with retention for judges is that you all just go in there and go, oh, they're Democrats, so I'm just going to vote on it. Their families' lives that are at stake. A judge has one of the most powerful positions. One of the most powerful positions. And then we don't think about it until we end up in front of a judge and go, oh my God. Oh my God. This is what's going on, right? And so you want to go and you're going to look who has been the ones that are doing what needs to be done? Who are the ones that are not doing what they need to be done? Because the most powerful person to either keep a judge or remove a judge from bench are you, the voters. Are you, the voters? People can give you the information, but you have to sit and look and say, okay, this is what I'm seeing. And you start, again, like I said about the congressional race for Congress. Don't just vote for people because they have name recognition. Start to ask questions. What have they done? What have they not done? How will they impact my life? Large or small? That's important. So there's that race that's coming up on November 4th here locally. There's the district attorney's race, but no one's really paying attention to that. And I think that is a fallacy too, because the guy that claimed that he was Democrat in the spring is now running as a Republican. And so then you have to ask your questions. All right, what is happening with Dugan? What does that look like? Should I switch from voting for the current district attorney Krasner? Should I go over to Dugan or vice versa? Ask the questions. This is not the time to sit around and just take a placard and go, I'm just going to go vote down the line, because your lives are going to be impacted by it. Then now we have the Supreme Court race. And my husband said something to me yesterday as he was reading this long article in the Philadelphia Inquirer, 21 pages long. He said, Andrea, it would be interesting that people go into the booth and they start voting no. They're going to vote no across the line. But the Supreme Court race is a whole different race, to the point where the Supreme Court candidates are doing commercials, serious commercials about voting for them, right? Doherty, Wecht, and somebody else. Again, look at their record. Stop voting for folks simply because. And if their record stands up to what we believe would impact us most as a people, don't make it too personal now. Don't be like, well, he didn't do. Nope. What did this person do overarching for the people? That's when you decide who you're going to vote for. Because when I tell you all them other times it's like vote like your life depends upon it, I feel like people's votes were being taken for granted. And now we're at a place where we're seeing, right? Because even when folks were voting like their lives depended upon it and the party of choice came into office, that party wasn't doing what they were supposed to do either. Let's have a discussion about that. And we have to get to the place where we stop voting for people because they look like us. My God, my God, my God. Please. Records matter. Go and look. Go look up. Go have conversations with people. Right? And if you, I don't know what to tell you, because I think we're in the trouble that we're in right now because we don't want to read and research. We'd rather have someone tell us who to vote for and here, go in the and vote for blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, your life is being shot to hell by the very people that you're putting in office because, this is where we are. It's a lot. It's a lot. Danette says we can no longer take voting for granted. We must do our homework. It's true. It's absolutely true. Monica says, what? Nurse? She was on here talking about nurses being raped and being beat the hell up, right? It's a lot. It's a lot. Good morning, Laverne. Marguerite says, I listened to his statement and it appears that he was on the verge of tears. Mr. Shapiro will likely need counseling for this. I hope people do not bash him about it. I don't know what happened to my guest, but Mova always is able to run through and cover the news and do what needs to be done. So, Marguerite says, we want you to moderate an event with these judges. You get to the quick. I do. But that's part of the reason why they're not calling me the moderator. I take no tea. I can't. We're talking about the lives of people. And so when you shuck and jive, when I'm moderating the thing, it doesn't go well. It does not go well. So while I maintain my professionalism, I will call you to the carpet about shucking and jiving around the people. So they will call someone who they believe will just let the foolishness stand and just continue to go on as if it didn't happen. I'm not that moderator, so it is what it is. I am incredibly, eternally grateful to all of you. Thank you, Andrea, for bringing up the fact that this is the 1-year anniversary of the podcast. A Lawful Truth podcast. So much has happened in this year. I want to thank everybody, large and small, who have played in this journey for us getting to where we are right now. And when season 4 comes out, you'll understand. You'll see, because with each season, we're making sure that we're not just putting up. Someone sent me a podcast episode of somebody that it was terrible. It was It is not enough to just open up a microphone, y'all. You've got to know the subject matter at hand. You've got to be able to ask the questions about the stories, the story that you're being told. Storytelling is a powerful format. And if you don't know how to be an authentic griot, which is a storyteller, then open up the microphone and just saying what you want to say. I listened to 1 minute and I wrote back the person that said, I know this is somebody that you love and care about, but this is terrible. They need to stop. And the fact that they made it to season 4 doing this is insane. Absolutely insane. So it is where it is. I appreciate all of you so much. Like many of you, I am dealing with some stuff over here too, right? Some of it I'll share, some of it I, keep to myself. As I should. But I believe I got sick last week because there was so much, first of all, not sleeping. Wasn't sleeping at all. And it caught up with me, right? And so my body's resistance went down. And baby, the coughing, the hacking, the yush, it was terrible. I couldn't sleep through the night because of the coughing at one point. So we're going to be okay, right? This is the time. I noticed when I looked at my memories, I got sick this time last year and the year before. The year before that, I actually lost my voice, right? So I understand now that as the weather changes and the things are going on, we're going to be okay. But I have to shift and change how I'm navigating. There was someone here in my house yesterday doing some work, and she heard me coughing, and she came downstairs. Came downstairs, and she said to me, "I need you to go to this store and get this, and this, and this, and this, and this." And I went to the store, cost me $18. And I boiled it in a tea. And my nose, the stuffiness that I felt, my nose started running, the coughing went away because it's a post-nasal drip. And I called her and I said, wait. She said, listen, people have all these supplements and things that they think will work for you and for us and for me. She said, but I'm telling you now, the stuff that are being sold, and it was all natural things like corn silk, like the silk of the corn. I'm telling you, and I put it in a big pot and I cut a lemon open in my tea in the thing and let it all boil with some oh my God, cinnamon sticks and some. And all of a sudden, my nasal passages started closing. So that was all coming out. I gotta blow my nose and cough up stuff, and it's just awful. And Laura says, and your mom's birthday. Let me tell you something, Laura. My mom's birthday. Yeah. Last week was. Yeah. And I've been talking to my sisters, and my sisters are like, it's been terrible for them. They've figured it out, that this is the time of year when it comes around, that they don't feel good. Everybody is just going through it. But again, for those of you, Laura, you've been calling, making sure I'm okay. I appreciate you. Nakisha, quite a few of you have been calling and making sure that I'm okay. If I'm sleeping, I'll respond after I awaken. But these last few days were just not easy, right? And so I'm grateful. I'm so grateful, just grateful to all of you. I never take it for granted that you're picking up the phone and making sure that I'm okay, and checking in. And So this is where we are. Tomorrow is a lovers segment. My guest just texted me and said that the alarm did not go off, so we'll figure that out another day. But just know that we are all in this boat together. That as the tide shifts and turns, all the things that David and I told you in November of last year has now come to pass. And we are going to need everything that we have. So if you have not started figuring out how you're going to support your family in the midst of what's happening, not what's coming, but what is happening, then I don't know what to tell you. Right? I don't know what to tell you. Monica says, Andrea, this podcast has enlightened and blessed me in so many ways that I can't even count. Please know that I am grateful and will continue to support. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Laura said, next year, prepare yourself with getting extra rest so your resistance is higher. Absolutely. Absolutely, Laura. Let me tell you something. That was, woo-wee. I was down. And my friend Margaret and her mother were here, and Margaret came in one day and she said to me, I'm very concerned about you. And I looked at her and I said, I'm concerned about me too. I'm concerned about me too. But her mother went into my kitchen and began making me things. So, that reminded me of my mother. I got teary a couple of times when I would walk into the kitchen and she was making, she was making stew peas, and she was making turn cornmeal, as you all would call polenta, and she was making rundown and all the things that she knew would help to make me feel better. Excuse me. And she made enough, oh Lord, so that I could freeze it long after she was gone. So while I still climbed in my bed and cried for my mother, having her here and hearing her talk to me helped immensely. I'm sorry I was not, in the best of shape, but they understood, and we did what we had to do. Okay. Um, Marguerite says, God hears your cries and will perfect that which concerns you and Mr. So true. So true. Good morning, Tiffany. Good. Thank you, Jasenia. Notice I'm calling you by your name now, not Jasenia. Jasenia. All right, y'all. It's 7:28. I have to get ready for the gym. I didn't eat anything, so that's going to get Audra on my case. But at least I'm going, right? I'm not just sitting around falling apart. And I feel better enough that I can actually go lift weights and not feel like I'm toppling over. I love you all, and I do mean it. I absolutely love you all. Some of you have been with me forever and a day. Some of you are much newer. But for each and every one of you that played the part in the journey, thank you so, so, so much. Always, always consider working on yourself instead of pointing fingers at others and what they have done. Okay? This episode of Mornings with Mother is officially over. I am Andrea Lawful Sanders. I'll see you when I see you. See you tomorrow, God willing, everybody. Bye-bye.